Assalamu alaikum, sisters. Can you hear me now? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Welcome, my dear sisters and brothers, if there are any brothers here, to the second session, inshallah. Hope we benefited from last session, and hope, inshallah, we can continue to benefit from this session. We were a number of already presented questions before, so we'll carry on with this, inshallah. Last time we had we have answered some questions like how can sisters deal best with the situation when their husbands do not fast or pray and still demand lunch and intimacy. We answered this in a quite detailed manner, so please refer to the previous video to find the answer. Also, are Muslims permitted to listen to music if it has no evil lyrics? Are Islamic nasheeds permissible with instruments? We also answered this question. Can a woman or even a man make an intention to pray and make ghusl after Fajr has come? We said yes for this, because fasting does not require purity. So obviously, as long as you make ghusl and pray before the sunrise, which is optional time for Fajr, so it's okay if you have a relationship or you had your period before Fajr and ended. So to delay, as long as you have not eaten or drank anything after Fajr, then it's okay. We also answered the question, is it allowed to celebrate birthdays? We spoke about this. And if we, the question that we're starting with today, inshallah, is related to fasting, which is most relevant nowadays. If we need to take medication during fasting, sisters, please feel free to unmute. I'll unmute you. If you have any questions, just pause them. If there's a child next to you or any type of noise, mute yourself again, please, because it would be much better if you can have it, and we can have the session in an interactive way, inshallah. So I would like to unmute everybody, and then feel free, please, to talk. When I ask a question, answer yes or no, or you can interfere. Only, again, if there is noise around you, mute yourself, please.
Okay.
Okay. Now, before we start answering this question, do you have anything specific that you would like more clarification on from last session?
No, last session was brilliant, actually. All was satisfied. Am I right, Maliha?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. So we'll move to the next question, inshallah. If we need to take medication during fasting, is it permissible to stop eating and continue to drink? No. Fasting is a package. Take it or leave it. You cannot do one thing and refrain from another thing. So one drink will nullify the fasting. There are things in times of necessity, like, for example, someone has got something in their throat and they're dying, so they can have a drink for that to save their lives. That's something else. But if you have a problem, for example, and you need to take medicine, so the thing is, you fast completely or you break your fast. If you can make up these days later on, when the days are shorter, for example, and during winter, that's fine. If you can't, then you pay the fidya. There is no option to do one. So fasting, the three physical things of fasting is food, drinks, and intimacy. So if any of the three happen at any time for a reason or no reason, then your fasting will be broken, and you need to, if you have excuse, obviously, or valid reason, you need to repeat that day later on when you have the power to. But if you are permanently sick and there is no way you can fast, simply Allah has given you the second option, which is the fidya, which is feeding one meal for a needy person per day. As simple as that. Do you need any more clarification on this point?
Yes, please. Regarding the eye drops and nasal spray, for example, for allergy, do these break the fast as well?
Yeah, we come in. This is the next question, inshallah. Okay. So during fasting, subcutaneous medications such as IV drops, injections allowed, nasal or eye drops. So the rule with this, my dear sister, is anything that does not come through the normal passage is allowed. What is the normal passage? The normal passage is the mouth, that's for food, or where the things come out also, which is these two things, the mouth and the anus. I'm sorry for the word, but anything that comes from these two passages, it nullifies the fasting. Anything otherwise, it does not nullify the fasting. So, for example, you are sick or diabetic and you are having subcutaneous medication, okay, which is injection, for example, it does not break the fast. You have a bit of high temperature or dry cough and you take anything, non-oral use, okay, that is fine. But if you take an injection through the anus or any type of medicine through the mouth, it does break the fast and you are completely forgiven. There is no sin in you. You just need to make up that day later. When it comes to the eye drops and the nose drops as well, you will find disagreement among the scholars. And the two opinions are as follows. The first is, if you can find the taste of these things in your nose, in your throat, and you feel some liquid coming in, it does break the fast, and you need to repeat the day. But the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah, which I do believe in, and also many scholars at the moment, they apply this. You say, listen, they didn't have eye drops or nasal, or nose drops during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So what was available at that time is kuhl. Kuhl is something ladies use black material to beautify their eyes. Okay, and the practice at that time was kuhl. When you put it in your eyes, sometimes you feel it in your throat. Yet the scholar says forgive him because it does not constitute a type of food or nutrition. And the same applies to the eye drops and to the nose drops. Why? Because when you take an eye drop, it's 1 or 2 drops, even if you feel it in your throat a little bit, it neither provided you with nourishment, it actually have a bad taste, okay? And also it is going to be something needed for you without the intention of having nutrition or the intention of giving body and your body power and strength. So the opinion that I do believe in, even though I did mention the other opinion, is that no, whether you find them in your throat or not, 1 or 2 drops, I don't think anybody will put more than 1 or 2 drops in their eyes or in their nose. Will not, even if you feel them in your throat, is not food and will not nourish you, and it's something necessary for your health or for your well-being. So to have them is better than to break your fast during the month of Ramadan at all. So I would say, no, it does not break the fast. When it comes to the eyes and the nose, why the eyes and the nose? Why didn't I mention the ears? The eyes and the nose, simply because the eyes and the nose, when you put things in them, they have a passage to the throat. You can feel them in your throat. But when you put some drops in your ears, for example, you will not feel it in your throat because the air, if I'm not, some doctors say, if I'm not mistaken, but this is my personal experience, the ear does not have a passage to the throat. So when I put some drops in my ears, I never feel them in my throat. But when I put some drops in my eyes or in my nose, sometimes I do feel them in my throat. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So one opinion would say they do break the fast if it is felt in the throat, because now it went through a face passage that has a passage to the throat. But again, I don't believe in this, because if the kuhl, which is not necessary actually, is put in the eyes and you feel it in your throat, and the scholar says that's okay because neither nourishing nor type of food. So what about something which is necessary like eye drops and nose drops? Okay, so I would say the opinion I choose is that it does not break the fast, whether you feel it in your throat or not. The injections, there are 2 types of injections, nourishing and one for medication. Nourishing, sometimes you take a vitamin injection or an injection that gives you nourishment throughout the day. If this happens after Fajr and before Maghrib, it does break the fast, even though it didn't go through the normal passage, because the whole point of not eating and drinking is not to have is to lose the power of food. If you take it in another way, like a vitamin injection or some nutritious injection, food supplement, whatever, even though it didn't go through the normal passage, it will break the fast. But if again a medication, you need something because of some health problems you have, your diabetes, high blood pressure, whatever, then it is okay, as long as it does not go through your throat and it does not go through the ears. Is it clear, sisters?
Yes.
Yes,
Please.
thank you very much.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, so I'll move to the next question, inshallah.
Can I interrupt? Sorry.
Yes, sister, go ahead.
It's just that you just mentioned that in fasting in those days, it was allowed to put the kajal or whatever it is for in the eyes to beautify it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we put on lipstick? Because again, lipstick or a lip gloss is not going to provide us with any nutrition, and if it is not flavored, then in that respect, is it allowed?
Yes, anything that does not go through the throat and is allowed. So if your sister is going out, she's not allowed to put lipstick. She can put for her husband at her home. Okay. But if she's doing that for her husband at home, then that's completely fine.
All right, thank you.
Yes, anything that does not go through the throat, someone with, for example, toothbrush is okay. Someone with the nasal, someone with lipstick, or someone with any type of thing, as long as the bottom line, it does not go through your throat and is originally permissible outside Ramadan, then you can apply.
So in that respect, you are saying that we can use a toothpaste with the toothbrush, although
Yes, absolutely fine, absolutely fine. As long as it's like gargling during wudu, same, something goes to your mouth, but as long as you don't overdo it, you don't exaggerate it, and it does give you, because now we fast for a long number of hours, and for this long number of hours, sisters, we do develop a bad breath. So it is advisable that you brush your teeth. Again, there is nothing wrong, because nothing of the toothpaste goes into your throat, and it's not a nutrition. So I do brush my teeth myself, use the siwak. The Prophet used to use the siwak when he was fasting, which is equal to the toothpaste today. Also, again, the bottom line is that nothing will go to your throat. But if you keep for example, you go and make wudu and you keep gargling, it's really nice, even though I'm not drinking anything, but you keep doing this, no intention for you to have anything. But because you overdo it, some water goes into your throat unintentionally. So you have to repeat the day. Even though you're allowed to gargle, but you overdid it because it was too hot, for example, and this overdoing it made it unintentionally go to your throat. So you have to repeat the day, and you have to continue without eating a thing. Not also, when we say you have to repeat a day because of a mistake, you are not allowed to, for example, to break the fasting, to carry on eating. Say, some water have already gone, and I have to repeat the day. Let me eat until the end of the day. No, you have to carry on fasting and still repeat the day. Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask one thing, please?
Yes.
Yeah, if someone is smoker and can he use nicotine patches, obviously during fasting?
No, first, being a smoker is not good. Second, nicotine patches is, even though it does not go to the throat. Or let me explain a bit. Or let me learn a bit more. What does nicotine patches do?
Obviously, reduce the urge for smoking.
Sorry.
It reduces
Okay,
the urge for smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, something of them goes into the body. Something of them goes into the body.
It goes to the body.
Yeah, so khalas. But and again, smoking is not allowed outside Ramadan. If we say the minimum opinion, or the easiest opinion given regarding smoking, it is strictly disliked, or makruh, karaha shadida. But for my opinion, it's haram now, because it has been established during dawah that it causes diseases and it causes problem. In addition to the loss in the money, it's too expensive to smoke. So from my own opinion, it's completely established to be haram, because who said it is disliked or is not good in the past was based on a little research that did not prove beyond doubt its seriousness, its danger against our health. Now it's proven beyond doubt using scientific research. So I would say it's haram. So anything haram to do, I'm speaking about smoking, not nicotine patches. Okay, and then it's not allowed to use during outside Ramadan. It's also haram during Ramadan. Now, nicotine patches, it does provide your body with something that it needs. And the whole point of fasting is stopping what the body needs during that time. Okay, so nicotine patches shouldn't be used during the day of Ramadan, and obviously you're not allowed to smoke during. If you smoke, your fasting is broken. But nicotine patches will do something, is similar job. It's like exactly you eat food to get strength. Yes. Now you didn't eat food, you take some sort of liquid or a nutritious injection. It serves the same purpose. Yes. So nicotine patches will serve the same purpose as a cigarette. So I would say no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you can take them before Fajr or after Maghrib, that's fine. If they're going to help him stop smoking.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can I
How
just
can we? Sorry?
So what about if, like tasting the salt in the food? Is it only permissible if your husband is very strict, or can you do it if you're making a feast for like 50 people? Can you make sure, just to make sure that the food tastes right, can you do it? What is the thing behind that?
Yes, the scholar says permissible. Again, the bottom line in what is right and what is not right is nothing goes to your throat. Okay, so food tasting is something that is needed because particularly the Asian brothers and Egyptian brothers, they will do you a lot of trouble if the food is not nice. Okay, I'm fasting for 17, 18 hours and you didn't cook enough. No, so it's completely permissible to taste the food. Just with, again, when you say something is permissible, you put something in your mouth and does not go to your throat. You have to use only what is necessary to achieve the purpose for which you're doing this. So you just take something little in the tip of the spoon, for example, and you drink it. That is not drink it, sorry, you taste it. So that is completely permissible, and the scholars have, I'm not aware of anybody who said this is not permissible. So yes, nothing wrong with this, inshallah. Okay, even if your husband is not strict, because simply it is your job traditionally and conventionally as a wife to cook for your husband, and you need to prepare food. And again, it doesn't go to your throat, so it does not provide you with any nutrition, and it does not break your fast. Same when you put water in your mouth and then throw it again, nothing wrong with this. Okay, but also it would be better to gargle after this with water, so if any type of taste is left in your on your tongue, on your mouth, it goes as well, inshallah. Next question is it permissible to make tayammum, which is dry wudu or dry ablution, using dust particles or sand particles for ease in making our prayers when we are at work and wearing heavy protective clothing? I'm not sure who asked this question. Is it a doctor?
Yes.
Who is, for example, working on the coronavirus? I know they have some type of clothing they are not allowed to put them off, since they wear them early in the morning until late in the evening. They are not even allowed to go to the toilet sometimes. They use nappies, if we can use that. If this is such a strict case where there is an epidemic, if they take the clothing, there will be danger on them and on the patients and those around them. Then the scholar said even you can pray without wudu, and even if your nappy has got something najis in it, but only in these strict conditions. If clothes can be removed with no harm but a little bit of unease, okay, then you're not allowed to resort to tayammum or not to make wudu or clean yourself properly. But again, I've seen this question before, and some people who are fighting against corona, we call them the frontline workers, they wear some type of protective clothes since early morning. They are allowed to wear it once, early morning until the evening. I say we're not even allowed to use the toilet. They give them baby nappies like this of the babies, just so they can relieve themselves during they work for 15, 16 hours, for example. So shouldn't they pray? No, they have to pray still. That's what I say. Even you do whatever is possible, even if you can do nothing, you can do no tayammum, you can do no wudu, you cannot remove the najasa from your nappy to pray as you are, because this is what is possible. Is that clear? However, again, I repeat, if there is a way that wudu can be done without causing harm or breaking the regulations or then you're not allowed to resort to the easy option just because it's more convenient, or the traditional option is a bit more difficult. Is it clear, inshallah?
Yes,
Sister?
thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Is it permissible? We are reading. Things like Islamic duties of mother, how to overcome fatigue, how to improve tolerance and sabr. That's all good things, but they need lectures. They need lectures. I don't want to spend the whole hour on one topic of this. Okay. So again, I'll go to the physical things, halal or haram. What could be done in that particular physical situation. We'll leave the spiritual things for lectures, inshallah. Okay. What do we do? Accumulated oat fast due to pregnancy and childbirth. Yes, one of the most controversial issues among scholars when it comes to fasting is a sister who is pregnant or breastfeeding. Should she make up the days or just pay the fidya? You will find an opinion saying she needs to make up the day. An opinion that says she needs to pay fidya, not fast again. An opinion that says, believe it or not, she must do both. Okay? So pays the fidya and makes up the days. An opinion that gives some details. If there is fear on the child and the mother, she should be doing that. If there is fear on the child only, or there is fear on the child. But the thing is to say, sister, there is no conclusive evidence in this regard. So, if there is evidence, everybody has own evidence, which is equally similar to the other. So, what to do? I would say the following, as simple as that. A sister who is pregnant or breastfeeding, will she continue her life pregnant and breastfeeding? Huh? Can someone answer me, please? Normally now, a sister, on average, gives 2 to 3 children, yes?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Yes. So, and usually they are not consecutive. They don't come one after every year. Okay, exception some Somalian families, mashallah, they get 10, 15 children. One year she is pregnant, the next year she is breastfeeding. 1 year she is pregnant, the next year she is breastfeeding. That is exception. That is not the rule. Okay. But the rule is sisters now just get on average 2 to 3 children, and usually they spread them maybe one child every 3 years or something like this. And this excuse of being unable to fast due to fatigue from pregnancy. Obviously, when you are pregnant, you have a child in your stomach, in your womb, and the child is nourishing on everything from you. That's why pregnant ladies eat a lot. They're not because they became there is no break for them in eating, but because there's another being inside them eating, so they need to nourish him as well. Okay, and ladies who keep getting pregnant and children, they develop some problems with calcium and with bones because the child takes all the nutritious elements in their bodies. So it is completely understood that they need more food than usual, and they will be harder for them to fast. Same with sisters who are breastfeeding, because the nutritious elements in the body goes in the milk to the child. However, it is not as severe as a sister who is pregnant, particularly in the later period of pregnancy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given there the concession to break their fast. However, I would say many sisters I'm aware of, they are pregnant and breastfeeding and they fast normally. A little bit more difficult than others, but they can manage it. So sister, if you can manage it with a little bit more difficulty, believe me, your reward will be much higher, inshallah. However, Allah has given you the permission to break the fast, even if you can manage it. Same as someone who is traveling. Allah has given him the permission to break the fast, even if he can fast while traveling. Clear? Now, when you choose, for example, to break the fast, what should you do later on? Should you pay the fidya and not fast these days again? Or should you make them up, or should you do both? The analogy says that, as simple as this, if you look at the rule for those who fast and those who do not fast, or those, the rule regarding those who need to make up the missed days and those who need to pay the fidya, you will find that the general line combining all these rules, that if there is a chance you can make them up later, there is no way you can pay the fidya. And if there is a chance, there is no chance you can make them up later because you have a chronic disease or you're too old, you can never go young again. People who are too old in age or people who have chronic diseases, they must have medications every single day, 3-4 times. So there is no way for them to fast in the future, or at least there is no expected time where they can, their conditions can change. These people straight away they pay the fidya. What is the fidya? One meal of the average food of the area where you live in to be given to a poor person. Or one meal here we say because you will not go and give 1 kg or 2 kg of rice, for example. We'll give a meal. So a meal is average here 5 to 6 pounds. So this is what you need to pay as a fidya for every day that you cannot fast during Ramadan or after Ramadan. Now, as a sister who is pregnant or breastfeeding, will you continue your life pregnant or first breastfeeding, or will you continue this for 10 consecutive years? I don't think so. And if there's an exception, then we need to look at the exception case by case. So the general rule is that a sister who's pregnant or breastfeeding has a temporary excuse, not a permanent excuse. And when someone has a temporary excuse, the rule in the Sharia is that they need to make up these days. So let's say, for example, you were pregnant for 1 year and you've been breastfeeding for 1.5 or 2 years. I would suggest first make up these days in the short days of winter when the day is quite short and you can manage. That's one option. If you cannot tell, and I don't think it is possible unless you have health problems, then whenever it becomes possible for you, you make up these days, spread them. Fast every Monday and Thursday. You finish now 3 years of breastfeeding and pregnancy, so you have 90 days to fast. Yes? So these 90 days can be spread easily, fast every Monday and Thursday. On the one hand, you're making up the days. On the other hand, you are observing the sunnah of fasting on Mondays and Thursdays. Fast the 3 middle days of every month. So if you count this actually, Mondays and Thursdays twice a week, that you will end up 8 days a week. And the 3 middle days of every month, so you will have a minimum 10 days. It could be 11 days. It's based on whether the 3 middle days will go through Monday or Thursday or not. So you will have a minimum of 10 days fasting every month. So in 9 months, you will be able to finish the 3 days of fasting. So that's the opinion I'm choosing because again, being pregnant or breastfeeding is a temporary excuse. You don't have a chronic disease and you are not too old, otherwise we wouldn't have been pregnant or breastfeeding. So, and you can manage fasting later on. Whenever it's possible to manage the fasting at a later date, even after a few years, then you are not allowed to pay the fidya. And the opinion that says you pay the fidya and make up the fasting does not make any sense actually, because Allah will never combine two types of compensation on anybody. It's either or. It's never been mentioned in Islamic Sharia that you have to do both, unless when you do something haram, for example, such as, for example, having sexual intercourse during the month of Ramadan, during the daytime, this Allah will come as a punishment now. It's not a kafara. You have to repeat the fast and you have to pay the kafara of feeding of fasting 60 consecutive days. It is clear, inshallah. So sisters who are breastfeeding or pregnant, they need, in the correct opinion that I choose, while admitting there are other opinions, that they need to make up the fast whenever it's convenient. A better way to make up the fast is to fast during the short winter days. If they can't, then after they finish a number of years, then they can spread the day throughout and don't leave it for last month. For example, say I'm fasting in Sha'ban, inshallah. You don't know what happened. You may get sick. You may have to travel. Something might happen to you. You don't know. Saudi Arabia might announce Ramadan 3 days before. You don't know. So you need to be cautious in this regard and take the safer side when it comes to one of the pillars of Islam, please. Any questions on this, sisters?
Thank
No,
you.
Jazakallah khair.
Jazakumullah khair. Can we go to the graveyard to recite Surah Al-Fatiha? Yes, sister. First of all, it was prohibited for Muslims to visit, the men and women to visit the graveyards in the beginning, because they were close to a shirk, and some people used to do some shirk acts at that time, and then it became permissible. The Prophet ﷺ said, كنت قد نهيتكم عن زيارة القبور ألا فزوروها فإنها تذكر الآخرة. I did prevent you from visiting the graveyards, but now I'm telling you, you can go, for it reminds you about the Akhirah. And this is a general ruling, applies to men and women. And in the so this hadith is also usually was studied as an example of what we call nasakh, abrogation, when something had a different ruling and the ruling changes later on. So here the ruling was it's haram to visit the graveyards, and then it became abrogated and it became halal. So this hadith is an example of it's like alcohol was halal in the beginning of Islam, and then it became disliked and it became haram. So this we call it in Arabic nasakh, in English abrogation, when a ruling changes because of the developments. So something was halal, it became haram, or was haram and became halal. So it is yes. And it is permissible for ladies to go and visit the graveyards as well. And we have an example on this from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he went and found a woman crying hard and saying improper words for the loss of her child. And he said to her, be patient and seek forgiveness from Allah. And she told the Prophet ﷺ, off, keep away from me. You have not been afflicted with my disaster. The Prophet ﷺ moved away. And then when she knew that he was the Prophet, she went and apologized. And the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الصَّبْرُ عِنْدَ الصَّدْمَةِ الْأُولَى. The patience is actually when you first receive the shock. But the point is, the Prophet ﷺ did not say to her, it is haram. Why do you go in the first place? And once the Prophet ﷺ says something and he does not object to the act, it means it's permissible. Because the rule with the Prophet ﷺ is anything that is haram, he will not let go of it. He will prevent it, or he will say it's haram, don't do it. If he sees something happening in front of his eyes and he did not object, then that is the Sharia rule that anything, the non-objections of the Prophet ﷺ means is permissible. So it is okay to go read Surah Al-Fatiha or anything and make dua, but you don't have to go, and also it's not sinful to go. If you want to read Surah Al-Fatiha, for example, you can read it from home, you can read it from another country. It doesn't have to be in front of the graveyard, for example, okay? And this is, but it's good to go and see your deceased parents, for example, as long as you will commit to the Sharia regulations, going with your full hijab, inshallah, not saying anything wrong, not putting makeup, not putting perfume, not saying this will not take you into a mood where you go into depression, for example, or you say words which should not be said in Islam. As long as you observe the regulations, it is okay, inshallah, whether you're a man or a woman, inshallah. How to get rid of a negative or paranoid thoughts from your mind? Again, this needs a lecture as well, because it's all about always come these thoughts. So just a quick glimpse, that's not an answer to the question. A quick glimpse, change your position. If you are standing, sit down. If you are sitting down, lie down or stand up. Okay, say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim all the time. Try to keep yourself busy with good things, because yourself or your mind is like a container. It needs to be full. If it's not full with good things, it will have a vacuum that will be filled by bad things. So this is a short, a short hint to the question, but it needs a lecture actually. Okay. Again, something about the character of a movement, qualities, and different levels of belief. This needs a series of lectures, not a lecture.
Can I just interrupt, brother, please? With the question on negative thoughts, and I understand you say it's the whole lecture, but my question is that sometimes things do come to your mind, even though you try to distract and take them off and say dua or say A'udhu Billah. Will you be questioned on those thoughts in your head?
Yes, that was the next question, sister. I have it in today's lecture, today's list.
If you don't do action according to those thoughts, if you don't do what's coming to your head, do you still get punished for it? Would you be questioned for it?
No. There is nothing in terms of punishment except when you act upon. That's so at the end of Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تخفوا ما في أنفسكم أو تبدوه يحاسبكم به الله. To Allah belongs that which in the heaven and that which is on earth. And if you conceal that which inside you or reveal it, Allah will take you into account because of it. That was the original ruling. And that was be very, very difficult on the Sahaba. We have many bad thoughts that come, the Shaitan comes and inspires you. Your evil soul comes and inspires you. So that was another example of nasakh or abrogation. Then the following ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. Oh Allah, do not take us into account when we make a mistake or when we forget. رَبَّنَا وَلَا تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْنَا إِسْرًا كَمَا حَمِلْتَهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِنَا. Oh Allah, do not lay a burden upon us as you have done for those who were before us. And this is the meaning of what you're talking about. The burden here was to take into account because of a thought that you have developed but didn't act upon it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet says, قال الله قد فعلت. Allah said, I did forgive you when you forget or make a mistake, and I did remove the burden from you. And removing the burden is that anything that comes into your mind and you repel it and you seek refuge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you don't act upon it, then you are not punished for this. Actually, you get reward. The hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, من هم بحسنة فلم يعملها كتبها الله له حسنة كاملة. A person who wants to do a good thing, he had a thought to do something good and he didn't do it, but he didn't do it, he didn't act up when something stopped him, he will get the full reward of one good deed. But if he had a thought of something good, and he acted upon it, you will end up having 10 rewards. So if this is worth 1, you will get 10. If it's worth 100, you get 1,000. That is when it comes to good thoughts. What about bad thoughts? The Prophet says, وَمَنْ هَمَّ بِسَيِّئَةٍ وَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا فَعَمِلَهَا كَتَبَهَا اللَّهُ لَهُ سَيِّئَةً وَحِيدًا. A person who has a thought of doing something bad and he does it, he will get only 1 bad deed, not 10 like the good deed. So if it is worth 10 bad deeds, you will get 10. If it's worth 100, you will get 100, not 1,000. And if you have whoever tries to or has a thought of doing something bad and he repels it and does not act upon it, you will get a reward, 1 reward. So you have 4 situations. A thought of a good deed that you don't act upon, you get a good deed, 1 good deed. A thought of a good deed that you act upon, you get 10 good deeds, 10 good deeds, 10 rewards, 10 hasanat. A thought of a bad deed that you act upon, you get only 1 bad deed, 1 sayyah. A thought of something bad, but you don't act upon it, you repel it for the sake of Allah, you get 1 good deed. So you are winning in 3 out of 4 situations. Only when you act upon the bad thought that you get only 1 punishment for it. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair. What is the ruling on wishing our... I don't like to go to these controversial issues, but as long as it has been questioned, then we have to go through it. What is the ruling on wishing our colleagues and non-Muslim family Happy Christmas? If not, how can we best handle it to avoid an offense of feeling alienated? May we give cards or gifts? Sisters, let me speak as blunt as this. You will find another opinion, okay? So you will find another, but it's a very minority, and usually will be seen by the true Western people who, yes, Islam does ask us to be kind and nice to people in general. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, and speak nicely to people and be kind to everyone. That is one of the basic and the fundamental rules of the Islamic Sharia. And لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. Allah does not forbid you or prevent you from being kind and loving to those non-Muslims who did not fight you in your religion and did not expel you from your homes. It's clear-cut principles of Islamic Sharia. You are not allowed to be rude or nasty to a non-Muslim. You are asked to, how would you invite them to Islam when you are bad to them? So we agree all of this. Nobody will debate, will disagree over this except the extremists, okay? But these are general rulings of the Sharia, and when there's a general ruling of the Sharia, you need to look if there are some specifications or exceptions from the general ruling. When you're allowed to be kind, or you question, you are asked, you are charged with this, you have to be kind and nice to non-Muslims, you have to be friendly, you have to invite them to Islam, and there is no way you can invite unless you are nice to them, but they need to see you as a practical example of da'wah rather than telling them some sweet words about Islam. So that's all understood. However, if something will go against your aqidah, then you are not allowed to do it. For example, Allah says you have to be nice to your parents. وَإِنْ جَاهَدَكَ عَلَى أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. If your parents, non-Muslim parents, ask you to commit shirk, to associate with me, that which you have no knowledge about, meaning other gods, then do not obey them, but still have good company with them in this dunya. So if this with parents, what do you think with relatives or non-Muslims? So, okay, what is wrong with saying to someone, Merry Christmas? Okay. First, this is a non-Muslim Eid festival, which has a shirk element in it. What is the shirk? They're celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. And do we believe in him? Isn't this? I don't want to go to the issue of whether Jesus was born in winter or in summer. This is another issue. But according to the Quran, indirectly implicated in the Quran and even in the Bible, he was born in summer, not in winter, because when he was born, the Bible description and the Quran description says there is a tree, palm tree that has dates, and the dates fell on Maryam alayhi salam, and that can happen only in summer. And also the Bible has something implications like this. So my point is, what is wrong with saying Merry Christmas to someone? This is a non-Muslim Eid. I will not allow it to celebrate any Eid apart from our two Eids. Okay? Even if it's an Islamic Eid, like I don't want to go into controversial issues. So, okay, what is wrong with the birth of Jesus? Don't we believe that he was born? Don't we believe that he was a prophet? Yes, we do believe in him. He's one of the best creation of Allah. He comes third after Prophet Muhammad and Prophet Ibrahim in the ranks of the prophets. We agree on all of fourth after Musa. So we agree on all of this. But the family and friends who celebrate the Christmas, our brothers and sisters from the Christian religion, do they celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, the God, or Jesus Christ, the prophet? Can someone answer me, please?
Sorry, didn't get that. What was the question again?
The question is, when Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus, we do believe in Jesus, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
Do they celebrate the birth of the messenger of Allah, Jesus, or the Son of God, Jesus? According to
The
them.
Son of God, Jesus, yeah.
Okay, do you believe in that?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so can you go and give someone a gift or say Merry Christmas associating partners with Allah?
Okay.
Yes.
Can I just say?
Yes, I know you don't believe in that, but just approving or giving them nice celebration, saying Merry Christmas. I'll give you an alternative to what to say later. I have not completed, so don't object straight away. So the opinion I do believe in, and this is the opinion of the majority, that is not permissible because we have clear instruction from the Prophet ﷺ not to celebrate, not to congratulate non-Muslims for their private religious occasion. If one of your friends who is non-Muslim is getting married and you take a present to him and you say, wish you all the best in your life, wish you a happy marriage. Nothing wrong with it at all. It's good. You get reward for this if you do it with the intention of bringing him closer to Islam. Someone has a birthday and you take a gift and you go to his birthday, happy birthday. Nothing wrong. Why? Because simply marriage is not a religious occasion. Birthday is not a religious occasion. So you get flexibility, and you are actually living in a Western country. You need to, with a majority of non-Muslims, you need to do things like this and be nice to them. But when it comes to the issue of celebrating the birth of God or Son of God, I'm sorry. This goes against the clear instructions of the Sharia. This goes against the clear instructions of the clear creed of our religion, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have a God, and we're not allowed to celebrate and congratulate others on their religious, underline this please, religious occasions. Okay? Because it is as if you're saying them, I don't have a problem. Merry Christmas associating partners with Allah. Here is a gift from me. Go ahead. Okay, so what to say? Okay, if you have to say something, or if you're put in a situation, so a friend of yours comes to you and says, Merry Christmas. So you can give us a nice smile. So, for example, thank you so much, wish you all the best. Or you can say something like, Happy New Year. Okay, be nice and kind without offending your aqidah and disturbing your creed. Does this make sense, sister? Again, you'll find someone saying there is nothing wrong and you don't believe, you just say, okay, it is their opinion, but I don't believe in that. Okay, so you want to take the other opinion, I'm not stopping you. You want my opinion, I'm telling you, and this is a very brief summary. Okay, You'll find everybody trying to bring or fetch evidence from here and there. I did study this issue in detail, and this is the conclusion I have got. Okay, be kind, nice. Try to use some generic words. So in the masjid where I work in, they used to send some Christmas greeting at the end of the year and the beginning of the year. We write on them seasonal greeting, and we write Happy New Year to you. Okay, and we send some verses from the Quran, Surah Maryam and Surah Al-Imran, the Quranic description of Jesus and Mary, and we send them. So there's nothing wrong. We didn't say Merry Christmas. We said Happy New Year, and we wish them all the best. We'll send them to non-Muslims as a form of da'wah. That's what we should be doing without jeopardizing or sacrificing our belief and the tenets of our aqid. Okay?
Okay.
I know you may not be satisfied by this, but this is my opinion.
All right. Okay.
No, you are completely right, Sheikh Mahmoud. The point is that, for example, we work in the hospital and all people around us are celebrating it. I just can't sit there, getting into the coffee room and sit down and everyone is there and just say nothing. I have to say, for example, anything. Happy festive, hope you have a lovely holiday, or happy.
Okay, say sister again, as long as you don't mention, you don't give a present in the conception or in,
no, we don't give presents. I'm away from this. I'm okay.
Yes, save the money. Okay, the issue
the
is
money.
Say things like this. I wish you all the best. Have a blessed day. A happy New Year. Nothing wrong with this. Okay, because we need to have a middle ground system between preserving our aqidah, okay, and also between being kind and nice to these people who are our colleagues and who may have done us a lot of good. So the bottom line is say there's always a way where you want to find out. And actually, when they know that you cannot say these words because you could have problematic issue with your religion, that will actually make them respect you more. And they, particularly when they see your good manners overall, they will make you respect you more, and they will make them inquisitive into this religion. What does it say? This might lead them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we are very short-minded, we are very short-sighted when say, okay, no, that's my opinion. Wallahi, if you think this is extremism, then I'm extremist. I'm extremist. Okay, that is my opinion. Again, I did study this in detail, and you will find another opinion saying nothing wrong, okay, but I'm sorry, when it comes to my aqidah, I would rather be on the safer side.
I agree.
Okay. Any more questions, inshallah? Yes, I've got a question I forgot about mortgages. Okay, let's finish this because I've got the khutbah Jum'ah soon, inshallah. The question about mortgages. I have, yes, it says, because we live in the West, I'm allowed to take a mortgage from the bank. Let's say that, sister, let's make it clear, please. Okay, when you take a mortgage from a bank, what is the contract between you and the bank?
Yes.
Can anybody answer? What is the contract? You will, for example, you're buying a house that is worth £200,000. Okay, you are paying, say, 50,000, and the bank is paying you 150,000. And over 30 years or less, you will be paying these 30,000, and you will end up paying. Sorry, will be paying these 150,000. You'll end up paying them as 200,000. Yes.
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 Okay, so that means that the bank give you money in return for increasing the payment, or they get more money. Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
This is the textbook definition of riba.
But what about the halal mortgages? Because like
I'm coming to this again. I didn't answer it last week because it needs a lot of time. So I hope I can finish them in these few minutes. I'll try to summarize. Okay, so textbook definition, the qaida in Arabic is كل قرض جر نفعا فهو ربا. Any loan that brings physical benefit to the lender is a form of riba. Finish, full stop. If you pay someone £100,000 and he returned them back to you after 1 month or 1 year, whatever, £100,001, that is riba. So riba is not just when you get exhaustive or some great amount of interest in return, even if you get a little bit. That is different from administrative fees. When you apply for a bank and they have employees and they have paper to fill and they have legal work, you pay them some fees. That's not riba, because this is fees. These are not retained. But you convert agreement with the bank is that you will pay 5% on average, or 4% to 5% on average every year on the amount that you owe. And that is the textbook definition of riba. Now, you'll find one or two opinions saying you can do this in the West because this is the only way for you to buy a house. And the logic that we have, actually, if you look at the mortgage versus rent, is almost the same amount that you pay to the bank that you pay for the rent. A little bit more, a little bit less, but around the same figure. So if you take a mortgage, okay, but what is the difference then? The difference is the mortgage will make you fall into riba, a rent is not. And the physical benefit to you is at the end of the period, be it 20 years or 25 years, you will end up owning the house, while in the rent, you will end up paying rent for your life and the house is not yours still, yes?
Yep.
Yeah, but you have to keep moving as well.
Yes, so, but if we agree that the mortgage involves riba, and riba is haram, it's not only haram, Allah never used these words with any act other than riba in the Quran. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين. All you who believe. Allah is not talking to any normal person, Allah is speaking to the faith inside your heart. All you who believe. If you believe in Allah, this is for you. اتقوا الله, be fearful of Allah. وذروا ما بقي من الربا, and leave that which has stayed or is left from riba, because the Sahaba were dealing in riba, some of the Sahaba, and there's some installments left for them. Allah said, leave this extra amount, take only your gain, your capital. In kuntum mu'minin, if you truly have faith. So Allah started it. Oh, you who believe, and then fear Allah regarding what? Leave that which is left for you from riba, if you truly believe. So what if I don't? The following ayah answers, فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا, and if you do not do this, فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, be prepared for a war with Allah and His Messenger. Can you stand a war with Allah and His Messenger, sister?
No.
This is not my words, these are literal words of Allah. فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, be prepared for a war with Allah and His Messenger. If you really know, in kuntum ta'lamun. So if I'm not aware of any other thing where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says he will be, the person who does it will be in actual fight, war with Allah and His Messenger. Such a type of threat is negated. It's not just something normally haram, it's something severely haram. Now, to transgress this ruling of haramness, you need necessity, something that will cause you severe loss to your life or to your existence. Now, paying rent, the fact that you can take a mortgage and pay it back means that you can afford the rent, yes?
Yes.
Because it's almost the same amount.
Yep.
Hence, in my own opinion, there is no necessity for taking a mortgage, because simply you can pay for the rent, mortgage, you can pay for the rent. You will lose some money, or you will end up not owning your house. SubhanAllah, you will die and leave it anyhow. Others will enjoy it and you will pay for itself. And the ruling in the Sharia, sister, is من ترك شيئا لله عوضه خيرا منه. Whoever leaves something that you think is really good or really beneficial for you, you leave it for the sake of Allah, indeed Allah will grant you something much more gross, much more better than it. Does this make sense?
It makes sense. However,
Okay.
if you live in a country in a rented place, you are bound by the landlord. You can't change anything in the house. You can keep moving every year, and instability for the children and the family. It's very difficult. You
Yes,
need to
sister, it is not as good. I agree. It is not as good as having your own house. I do want my own house myself. Okay, but whatever inconvenience you're having, whatever you're mentioning is not true all the time, or actually most of the time is not true. With a landlord permission, you can ask some permission, if it's particularly if you're long-term tenant, to do some changes, etc., etc. There are other alternatives. That's what the part that I have not mentioned yet. Whatever you have mentioned does not constitute a necessity to overcome the original ruling of the haramness. I'm speaking about the original ruling of haramness. And again, in Islam, to overcome anything that is haram, you need to have a necessity. And a necessity, again, a serious threat to your life or to your overall well-being. And well-being here does not mean luxury, it means the basics of your life. And whatever you mentioned is not well-being, it's not basics of your life, and it's not a threat to your life. Just a little bit of inconvenience that you live for the sake of Allah. So I need alternatives. What alternatives do I have? First, even though I want 100% approve of this as well myself, but it is the best, at least approved by some scholars option. Go for halal mortgage from the Islamic bank, what we call a Rayan bank here it is. This is another option. Even though I do have doubts on this because they end up charging you more and they just change the word interest into word rent. But again, at least you have something that you can argue. You can say to Allah, Allah, I'm paying rent, I'm not paying. This is not rent. Okay, at least some scholars have said this, and some people, the contract between me and them is on rent, not on riba. Clear? So that is one alternative. Okay. The other alternative, sisters, is what we call shared ownership. Shared ownership is you have, for example, you want a house for 200,000 pounds. You go to some shared ownership companies and you have of these 50,000 or 30,000. You buy the house from them with whatever amount of money available with you, and you own this house. You can make any modifications with it. They cannot ask you to leave from the house. It is yours according to the percentage. They have the higher percentage, yes, but you have all the normal rights of a landlord as if you own it fully. The only difference is you pay for them what their share as rent. So let's say you paid 50,000 and the house is 200,000. So you own 25% and they own 75%. They will give you a very reduced rent because you will be liable for all the bills and for all the repairs. And let's say this house normally you will rent it for 1,200 pounds. Okay, they will give you a rent around 1,000 pounds on total, and you're not paying 25% of the 1,000 pounds because simply you own 25%, so you end up paying 750 a year. And whenever you save some money, you give it to them. Whenever you save a sum of money equal to 5% or more, you pay it to them, and your percentage increases in the home ownership, and their percentage decreases, and hence the rent. With this, you can over the number of, you end up paying same thing as rent, same thing as a mortgage, but you will have the stability that you are looking for, and also you will have you will pay for it from your halal money that you earn over the years. Very close, maybe a little bit more expensive than mortgage, but very close to it with a halal form. Does this make sense? So you got two options. The first option is the Islamic bank. The second option, which I prefer more, is shared ownership.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Khalas, we'll stop here, inshallah. And if you have any more questions, there are some more questions that I wanted to answer, particularly the question of naqisatu aqlin wa din, but there is no time, inshallah. We'll carry on them next time, inshallah. Do you have any more questions or need more clarification from today?
No, Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh Mahmoud.
Very kind.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.